So welcome to another installment of Codecademy walkthrough, this time for Java. And we're on lesson 6, if statement. And this is a very important chapter. So we do this kind of walkthroughs and we put them in a YouTube playlist. If you want to subscribe, go ahead and email us at hellocodeforcats.com and tell us what would you like to see and what would you like to subscribe to, and we'll send you an email and keep you posted whenever a new episode is available. Otherwise, you can just save the playlist and you have access to it. So if statements are pretty important in just any language. And now let's get familiar with how relational equality and Boolean operators can be used to control the flow of your code. Well, that's our load for, but let's keep reading. We'll start by exploring the if statement. Number 1, in Java, the keyword if is the first part of a conditional expression. Still confusing, but just saying, you're trying to make a decision, trying to tell the computer to do something. If this is the case, do that thing. Do scenario A. Else, if it's not the case, do scenario B. So it's kind of like useful that way. It's like humans make a decision. If you're at the intersection, turn left. And that's what like a GPS will say. Number 2, it is followed by a Boolean expression and then a block of code. If the Boolean expression evaluates to true, the block of code that follows will run. Okay, so that's still a load for. So it's saying, let's say, if I put a Boolean expression which is true or false, and usually it's something non-trivial like that. So this statement would always run because the parentheses was always evaluated true. So that's a Boolean expression. We always put in parentheses in Java. And I can make it say print access. This will always be printed. And now I can say a false, and then this will never get printed. So I can might as well delete the code. And when they mean a block of code, it means the code that follows the Boolean expression surrounded by these curly brackets. Okay. So now let's try the exercise. They say if 9 is greater than 2, is that true? That is true. The statement will get printed. So in the example, 9 greater than 2 is a Boolean expression that gets evaluated. So whenever you have like a greater than, equal to, and this kind of signs, like greater than, smaller than, equal to, which is double equation, and not equal to, then the system knows you're not assigning anything. You're not just assigning something to a variable. You're actually asking me to evaluate if that is true or not. So that whole statement, you're asking me to evaluate whether it's true or not, and then it depends on that result, you want me to do something about it. So if statement is not followed by a semicolon. So it's not followed by a semicolon right here. Instead, use curly brackets to surround the code block that gets to run when the Boolean expression is true. So in the if statement of the code editor, it is missing because there was nothing here, right? Like before we type something here, there was nothing here. Provide the if statement with a Boolean expression that evaluates to true. So we can just type in true here. Access granted. We validate. We can also, I don't think Codecademy will evaluate again. But if we put false, nothing prints out. So it will also be printed out again if we say 8 is greater than 2. Okay, you see the statement prints out right here. So this is a very simple scenario, but it's a very important one because computer is a step-by-step machine. It does something only when you tell it to. And if it tells you, how do you tell a computer to do something in scenario 1, not do something in scenario 2? And this is sort of like you're teaching the computer to do something fancier, right? It's saying when the user log in, if the username matches the password in our database, log the user in. Else, do not log the user in. So you're trying to teach the computer to do human things, to do decision makings. So if else statements are known as kind of the decisions in coding, and also control flow. These are several names it can take. And it's really good that Codecademy is getting us started early.